Okay, we're going to be reviewing Strawhat61, who is playing Widow. This is Diamond 5 on console on King's Row. New player, hard stuck Diamond 5, feel I should be higher. VOD review request. I am new to Overwatch with Overwatch 2, got to Diamond 4 early this season by trying out the buff Tracer when she did 6 damage per shot, completely skipped Plat, got straight into Diamond 4. Since then I've been dropping between Plat 2 Diamond 5, even though I have 400 plus games played on DPS this season. I think I could and should be higher, but there are some games that I should win that I just lose. In the game that I'm about to link, I do pretty okay on Widow until the enemy team decides I won't play the game anymore. And it snowballs from there, and I struggle to pick it up, which leads to a pretty disastrous conclusion, which I don't even know what the F I'm doing or should be doing. It was like 8 a.m., so any thinking and mechanical skill went out the window as soon as they pushed me out of my comfort zone, but it was a very winnable game regardless of that, and even that, a less fatigued me wouldn't have done much different. I need to be winning these games to rank up and get better. A review would be heavily appreciated, and I would like the review to be as critical as possible. I have many thoughts to begin. Number one, if you are a new player, you are not hard stuck. That is not really what hard stuck means. For the record, back in Overwatch 1, people would be stuck at the same rank for like a year. So for someone to be like, oh, I just started playing Overwatch 2, which released like a couple of months ago, I already got to Diamond and I'm quote unquote hard stuck, feels to me like absolutely ridiculous. I know that you don't have the frame of reference. I'm just saying from an experienced player's perspective, people who had to grind away for like a year to go up one division, it's painful for me to be like, oh yeah, I started this game. I only got the Diamond, which is already like top 10% of players. I'm hard stuck. It's just insulting. Number one. Number two is that's a lot of games. Damn, you played 400 games. I don't know if those are all comp games though. I expect some of them also was in quick play, but you played 400 comp games since. What is it? This was released like October, November, something like that. Then that is a lot of games. Wow, that's an impressive amount of games. Number three is you're like, hey, I'm submitting this video, but it's 8 a.m. in the morning, and you know my aim and decision making is bad. But then it's also not bad. I think you need to stop this, and I think people in general need to stop doing this. If you submit a replay, like your replay should be like, hey, this is like what my play is like. Don't already start making excuses for yourself, because those excuses will be used to kind of like reduce the impact that feedback will have. And I see this with other videos I do where I'm like, oh, like here's, you know, I'm looking at a video, like one of the problems is like, you know, you make bad decisions here or your aim's really bad in the situation. They're like, oh, it's because I'm tired, or it's like it's the end of the session, end of all my sessions, or I'm not warmed up yet, or whatever it is. I don't think you should have that mentality, right? You're like, your play is what it is. Will you do better some games and worse some games? Of course. But own your own play. Don't make excuses. Don't even talk about it. Right? It's not even worth talking about, because then what's the reason for somebody to review you? It's like, you know, if I'm trying to get scouted to get an athletic scholarship for college, okay, and I send in a video, I'm like, okay, here's my basketball highlights, and I say, oh, but like I had a flu before this game, just like take that into account. They don't care, right? Like the coaches don't care if I had the flu or not. They're just gonna evaluate me based on the play that I have. Don't make excuses. Just it is what it is. Just don't bother. Just be like, this is my game. Just leave it at that. Not knowing what you're doing is an interesting point. I think we could probably analyze that a little further as the game goes on. If you've been one-tricking, right, like essentially Tracer and now Widow, then it's very possible that you have a very limited roster of heroes that you can play. Okay, and I'm going to guess, considering how fast you got the Diamond, that you probably have good mechanical skill, like you've probably good innate aim from other shooters or whatever it is. And that's sort of what's carried you to this level, but you have no idea how to get any further. And when you're countered, you get super stuck because you don't really know what all the heroes do well, and you don't know how to play any other DPS at the same level as whatever your Widow or Tracer is. That's what I'm sort of getting the impression of here is the problem. Lastly, I would say is that I really hate reviewing Widow games. I'm going to make like I make occasional exceptions, and this is one of them. I really hate reviewing Widow games, and the reason why I really hate reviewing Widow games is because the vast majority of Widow games comes down to, did you hit shots when you needed to? Yes, you won the game. Did you not hit the shots? No, you lost the game. How am I supposed to give feedback to that? You know what I mean? I'm like, well, you missed here. Like, you could have killed this, you know, Moira when she's coalescing, but instead you didn't, and she killed your team. And the person's like, okay, cool, but like, what could I have done differently? I'm like, yeah, kill the Moira. They're like, okay, but how do I kill the Moira? I'm like, well, you headshot her. I'm like, how do I headshot her? I'm like, well, you have better aim. And then they ask me, how do you get better aim? And I'm like, I don't want to be in the business of coaching aim. So I'll like note it as a problem, but I don't want to be in the business of coaching aim. This is why I think Widow is a very bad hero for many new players to play. I would say virtually no new player I think should ever play Widow, because Widow has a totally different play style than every single other type of hero. I mean, every hero has uniqueness to them, of course, but Widow is like their own mini game in the sense that if you're great at Widow, you can absolutely dominate games, but you won't learn, like you won't develop a strong base of knowledge that you really need to be successful long term in Overwatch. So I would recommend that people not play Widow. Even playing someone like Ashe, I think is way better than playing Widow. I think Widow is a bad choice. But this is a Widow game. I'm making my, 1 every 20 games exception or whatever to watch a Widow game, so let's watch it. Alright. So, interesting thing right here. You let people go out, which I think is interesting, right? You're probably like kind of waiting to see like if they get shot and then trying to follow up on this. So, you don't scope immediately coming around this corner, right? You do this. Let's watch it outside. So you step out here. You do this like quick peek. I think for me, I think what you should have done is that you should have been scoping as you went around that corner. Instead, you walk out and then you scope. I think you should have used this to... Okay. I'm going to pause. Despite what I just said about Widow and like hitting shots or not, there's actually a lot of complexity to it, and a lot of it's actually related to clearing spots one by one and angle control. And if you ever played you probably haven't since you're on console. If you ever played Counter-Strike Go, or Counter-Strike or Counter-Strike, you're probably too young to play the original CS. But if you played CS:GO or Valorant, you will learn in those games that clearing spots one by one is very important. Okay, you stay here and you're like, okay, where could a Widow possibly be standing? Typically, you'll end up with like 4 spots the Widow will be playing. Down here, okay, up here, right? Probably over here, right? Over here or down here are the 4 typical spots. And you can methodically clear them by going, right, from if you play back, because that's the other thing you should understand is the further you are away from a corner, the better off you are, because it has to do with the way that your shoulder is revealed to the enemy. It would take me literally 10 minutes to explain this concept, and you can look it up online, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to tell you that the person who is further away from the angle has more of an advantage. So that Widow already has an advantage on you because she will see your shoulder before you see her. Number 1. But you can minimize this advantage by trying to get as far back as you can. Obviously, you can't get any further back than here, but you could play here, for example, versus here. And I think that you should pretty much always endeavor to do that, right? Play back here. So what I would do is I would start from here. I would go here, right? Check there, right? Go here, check there, step forward, and check to the right of statue. As one example of just like clearing angles one by one. You just straight step out here and aim, and not even the right spot. So I might have thought like, hey, you kind of know because you can hear the Widow shot. Right? I think you're waiting for that, but you don't even line it up correctly, right? You look low when it should have been high. And I would assume high there first before low. What I'm trying to say here is I think the Widow could have killed you. I think the Widow actually had advantage and could have killed you in the situation. And partially, I'm just trying to set up mechanics for the rest of the game to try to explain things. Don't need that fire strike. Right, just unscope in that situation. So hard scoping right here is dangerous. Because again, at any moment in time, you had no control over the Widow right now. Like, you don't know where the Widow is. The Widow could just step out from here right now and kill you. Hard scoping like this is very, very dangerous. Right? Especially when you don't actually have a good target to do. If you're going to do that, you should hard scope from here to avoid exposure. The Widow's not going to suddenly show up to the right unless she like grapples over in like a crazy play. Okay? If I were you, right? If you want to do this, I hard scope from here, and then I start swinging right, and then clearing spots one by one. Don't shoot the Rhine shield ever. That's like basic 101. You should be dead right now. So this Widow, despite having heard you shoot multiple times, okay, is just going to come here and shoot the Doom instead of killing you. You should be dead. She had a full opportunity to shoot you. You should be dead right now. Don't shoot the Rhine. Do not shoot the Rhine. If there's one tip I can give you, stop shooting the tank. Unless the tank is literally going to die from the headshot or will die from you doing damage and somebody else get the kill, don't do this. Reload. So you're wasting time right now. The Widow is dead. You're in a 5-on-4 situation. Okay? I think you have one respawning. But reload, grapple over to Cinema, and start working this angle. Your job as Widow in this situation, if you can't get kills, is space control. They cannot stand in certain places, right? We can agree they cannot stand here because you would kill them. So why don't you just keep abusing that by continuing to move to the right? And then anyone who's playing at telephone has to shift over, right? And then once you shift over here, anyone even who's playing over here at Arch can't even do that. So they have to play over here, or they have to play around the corner. And at that point, the fight is won. Even if you get 0 kills, just forcing them to move will create space, which will allow you to take the point. You're wasting way too much time right now. Right? Just go. Just like, no one's peeking because they know that you're there. You just killed the Widow. Okay, now you finally rotate to Cinema. I think you're probably like, what, 20 seconds too late here? You waste a ton of time here. Another thing I will note is Widow. As Widow, obviously, like, space control is one of it. I think actually it's kind of like a higher level concept. Getting kills is the most important thing. Like, the simplest, most obvious thing. If you get 1 kill as Widow and do nothing else, that does nothing. Because all you did is basically erase 2 DPS from the game, right? You erased the DPS that you killed, assuming it's DPS, and you didn't kill anybody else. So it's basically a 4-on-4. There's no reason to expect your team should win. You have to get 1 kill and assist or kill another for your team to actually be ahead. I think that's very important to notice. Because Widow, unlike all the other DPS, adds no other value, right? If I'm Cassidy and I kill one and I don't kill anybody else, that's fine because I'm still shooting. I'm still putting damage. I'm breaking shields. I'm forcing their team to heal, like whatever it ends up being. I add more value. As Widow, you add no value other than getting kills. So again, I think you're wasting time here, right? Kiriko finally peeks, and yeah. Again, like, you get super punished for just hard scoping, right? It's been so long since you killed the Widow. And then, after all this, right? After all this, you see the Widow, she jumps in, okay? The shield is up, and instead of immediately crouching, right, unscoping, AD spamming, even jumping, you decide to try to kill her because you see her scope go up, and you're like, oh, I'm going to kill her right now. She even has a Rhine shield in front of her, though her head actually was not blocked by it. To try to take this fight is the worst possible imaginary thing that you could do. Like, that is actually insane. Like, their Widow had all the advantages, right? She knew where you were because she already heard you shot. She knew the timing of the fight. She already had you pre-aimed, and she had a shield. And you still decided to try to take that fight instead of simply dodging away. Doing literally anything other than trying to take the fight. So, you grapple up here. Again, I think this is, their Widow is clearly not thrilled with this. So, when you grapple up, do not do this. So you grapple up in an arc, which pulls you to the right. Grapple up, stay to the left so they don't actually see that you're up. Then you can pick the timing of the fight. Again, this applies in general to all hit scan fights, but especially to Widow, and this applies to CSGO and Valorant and other games like that too, is the person who is aiming at the enemy first has an advantage. And the person who knows when the fight will happen, like when the peak happens, the peaker, has an advantage. Because the one who's holding this, like, they have to be like hunched over their mouse and keyboard, like waiting. Okay, you're there, now I'm gonna try to hit you. But you can just chill here, pick your timing, and then go. So she has the advantage of pre-aiming, but you should have the advantage of peak timing. But you throw that away by jumping up. Okay? So look at it from her perspective. So you see how you do this slow jump? So you gave away both the pre-aim advantage and you gave away the timing advantage. And now you are not favored to win this fight. I think you're trying to do the cheeky trick with the Venom Mine blocks a headshot, but I don't think it's the right angle at all. You said get this up, which is correct, right? You should not peek this. So again, your aim is not right. You should already be looking through the legs and to the left. And I think just inexperience causes you to, because like she's clearly not going to be right here. You know what I mean? Like, this is not a valid spot that she could possibly be, right? Even if she's behind it, you're not going to make that shot anyway. So you should have been looking through this crack the whole time for her, because that should have been an easy kill for you. She still doesn't know you're there. Now she probably saw you. You're looking for her. You saw her right there. You see her again. Alright, cool. Body shot kill. Yeah, take it. I mean, you don't have to be headshot sometimes. This is why I hate watching Widow gameplay. Like, we don't care about anything that's happening in the entire rest of the game. All we've spent the last, I don't know how long this video's already been, like 10 minutes talking about is you trying to fight the enemy Widow. It's the most boring thing ever. It is so miserable to watch. This is why I only do this like every 20 games. It's like not. It's not even Overwatch. You know what I mean? This is just like Valorant in disguise. So I will tell you that even at the highest levels of play, tracking is more consistent than flicking. And if you get better at tracking, especially with a controller where it's easier to have smooth movement with the sticks, you should have been able to kill this Kiriko with a headshot. Right, so notice how she's going upwards and then going to the left, but you snap into a body shot. Right? You have to get better at hitting headshots. Oh my god, I cannot believe you did not die to this. What the heck is the Widow doing? Oh my god, that's super lucky. Okay. So, you drop, you get healed, you decide the ego challenge, you could have just died right there instantly. I mean, yeah, if that's what you want to do, go ahead. I don't even know what to say. That is not a good peak for you, right? But you're also being pocketed, so like, sure, I guess. For the record, she could see you come up, right? Because she has Infrasight. So with Infrasight, it lasts 15 seconds. So she knew this was coming. Anyway. Once again, you're shooting the Rhine. Who cares? Just go to the next platform. Go to the next platform. Look for who's supporting the Rhine. The Rhine's not going to be here alone. The Rhine's here alone. The Rhine will back up. Always keep going after the back line. Forget him. Fine, great. He's going to die anyway. You should rotate to the next platform. Okay, so you're holding this corner as though you expect enemies to be coming out here. And I think this is a really good example of how I don't think you learned how the game works. Because you play heroes. Like, Tracer also plays her own, like, separate mini game inside of Overwatch. There's no reason after the Rhine dies that the Kiriko or the Warrior would possibly run up here. Okay? Let's just think about this. You're hard holding this angle. Who the hell is going to walk here? Who's going to be like, oh, yeah, there's a Doomfist and a Soldier in my face, and the rest of the team is coming up with the cart, and my tank is dead? Let me just peek out right now and try to fight the Widow. That's not going to happen. Right? There's no way that this is going to happen. And just basic game sense here from playing any of the other heroes in the game would tell you that there's no reason why anybody would peek this right now. See, like, you're just wasting time. Like, you have to pop ulti just to have the 101 level understanding of like where the enemy possibly could be, right? You popped ulti when they are so far away from you right now, just because you just literally didn't know where people could be or would be logically. All right, again, you're on low ground. You shouldn't be on low ground, so you should get ready for the next fight. Okay, this angle is good. Right? If you had time getting over here, this angle is very strong. And if they don't have any flankers, there's really very little that they can do to get you off this angle. So just keeping that in mind, right? So over here is good. You could even conceivably play over here. You could play over here. There's a lot of options. The last thing you want to be is playing like really far to the back. I don't know what you thought was going to happen there. And Hanzo just killed himself. This is diamond level console gameplay that Hanzo just died. Oh man. So on PC this would be like gold, maybe? Probably like low gold. Alright, you've decided that you're just gonna move the cart now, which is not generally a good idea, but in this scenario where the enemy team is completely unable to stay alive, sure. Again, this might actually be the best possible plan right now. So I'm not gonna watch this. Okay, so they finally come to contest. And you start stepping forwards, which is a terrible idea because they're obviously going to have plenty of time to stall this cart, which you really should know, right? It should be very obvious based on the game situation that they have time to stall this cart. You play low ground instead of playing high ground, so now you're just looking at a Rhine shield, which is already a huge mistake. Man, you wanted a critical video. You're going to get a critical video. I'm not even going to be that hard on you. I'm going to be regular hard. So you don't have a tank, you don't have any supports, I would just die here. I would literally just walk into the bob and die. Because the odds of you getting chased down and killed here are reasonable. Mario's basically gonna say you. But like if you died, it wouldn't have wasted any time because you just would have died to the rest of your team. You should look for the Kiriko right now. So right here, the Rhine can no longer get you. Probably. I mean, you don't have grapple, so I guess it's conceivably possible. But I would have peeked the try to kill the Kiriko with a headshot. Okay. Hanzo's here, and then you die. So the Hanzo has a Sonic. Did you know he had a Sonic? Yes. You should have heard that shot and recognized it's probably a Sonic. Because if you hear an arrow and you don't see an arrow anywhere, like it wasn't fired at you, you should assume it's a Sonic. So you should assume that the Hanzo can see you right now. And because the Hanzo can see you, he pre-aims, so he has both the aim advantage. Well, I mean, like, it's kind of even for aim advantage, but he has peak advantage here, so you're just not able to respond to it. Right? On your screen, it's going to feel like it comes out really fast. Which it does. You get revived. We're just doing a pretty good job, actually, helping you get kills. You decide to fight the Moira point blank, which is a highly objectionable play. And then you die. So yeah, that was you got a revive. You didn't get a kill, right? Which you should recognize that you're in danger from Sonic. Then you got killed. Then you got revived. Then your Mercy saves you by killing the Hanzo. And then you could have then lived, but you decide to challenge the Moira at close range with Coalescence and then die. So that was a complete waste of 2 lives. I don't know what these Widow Mines are. I don't know that you even know the Widow Mine trick. The Venom Mine trick to block headshots. It kind of looks like you're just spamming it just in case like somebody pushes you, is the way it feels. Okay, you go high ground above them. This is a good position. Alright, you're gonna get absolutely fracked by the Ashe. I can just tell. So first of all, you have high ground advantage and you're not using it. So if you play up so that most of your body is exposed from her perspective, you're negating a lot of your... You see how basically over the top half of your body is exposed right now? This negates high ground advantage because high ground advantage, the cover, is very, very important, okay? If you play further back, like right... I mean, it's tricky because I have to do head level, but here, right, you can see most of her body and she'll only be able to see your head, which makes it a much harder shot for her. And if she hits you in the head, just hide. Great, that's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. But because you go this far out, number one, you've negated the high ground cover. Number two is that when you do get low, you have no ability to get away in time. There's zero reason that you should have lost this fight. You have a massive advantage. She's caught out in the open. You have high ground. You have also left-right cover in the situation as well. And like she has pressure from like stuff happening in front of you, and you don't. There is no reason to lose this fight. At a minimum, to not die here, but certainly not to. Yes, yeah, minimum not die, but preferably you should actually get the kill there pretty easily.
Heroes never die.
Okay, so sloppy, right? The second you turn this corner, you should be peeking right. You should be scoping right now and looking for a kill opportunity. Instead, you do an extra 2 jumps in for no reason, right? Which ruins your ability to actually get a shot in. Now you have to wait for this Bob. I don't know where you're going. Oh, right, your team lost. Okay, so you haven't really been doing anything for your team for quite some time now. I can't even remember the last kill that you got. I hope it wasn't that Rhine that you body shot. Okay, so when you peek in, right? First of all, you pop your ulti, but like no one's really there to assist right now. Like you see how your ulti's only really down. You see the Hanzo is low. This is 1 body shot. Instead, you don't even try to kill him. Don't even bother. Hanzo's too good for you to kill. You want to get somebody else. All right, you kill the Moira. Good. I don't know if that's aim or just lucky spam at headshot level, but we'll take it. All right, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. So you see the Hanzo pushing. You have to deal with this Hanzo. Okay, not only for your benefit, but to help your Kiriko up. You should just immediately peek right now and help your... Man. So you bait your team here. I bet you play other shooters. I bet you play other shooters where you're like, I bait my teammates so I can get kills. So the Hanzo, you see the Hanzo coming towards you. Okay, first of all, you had ulti, so you saw him coming towards you already, right? Then you peek right here and you see he's coming, and you also see your Kiriko here. So then you hide for a second, which I think is fair. Then you hear these arrows going off, and you should have been re-peeking, but instead you hard hold this angle because all you're thinking about is, I don't want to die. I want the Hanzo to walk in front of my crosshair so I can kill him. Instead of, wait, maybe I should try to save my 1 health teammate. That's the lowest I've ever seen a bar. Oh, she's dead. I was like, wait, how is this possible? Right? Bait your teammate, right, who dies. You kill the Hanzo, great, but like, you lost your Kiriko for it, so who cares? Reload. Again, another sloppy wide peek. Right? Don't peek like this. Right? Peek like, it's hard for me to do it with the extra speed, but peek like that. Right? Just small, just enough for you to see her. These crazy, like again, the crazy wide peeks are going to get you killed. Shooting Orisa right now is shooting the Orisa right now is fair, right? It appears that she doesn't have fortify or anything else, so great ahead, take the kill. Right, good tracking. I would say that is the best kill that you have gotten this game. Where I think that felt legit, it felt consistent, it felt like good tracking, you got her. Right, good. But for the record, these kills don't matter. This is one of the things where Widows also really like. Widows love to brag about how many kills they get, but when you look at the replay, the kills don't matter. These kills do not matter right now. You could kill this Ashe, right, and then also kill this Moira. Let's say a Kiriko here, kill the Kiriko, kill the Ashe, kill whatever. It doesn't matter because the fight's already over. You just capped. It does not matter right now. Right? Somebody's got to get them, to be fair. Like, it's better to kill them than not, but they don't help you actually win the game. And I think that's probably something that's really difficult, especially for like Widow 1 tricks, to understand that when you kill people is more important than how many kills you get. Getting the first kill of a fight is far more important than getting 3 kills, or 4 kills even, after your whole team has died. Good headshot, you try to finish her. I think it's good, right? Switching to semi-auto or automatic, just killing her. Right? She's clearly a lot of pressure there. I think that you should hold this peak. I know the Orisa's shooting at you, but the Hanzo's really low. Re-peek right away. Ashe goes up to you. That's a gutsy jump up for her. Orisa does a really good job keeping you alive. She has killed more DPS fighting you than you have, which I think is very ironic.
No one can hide from my sight.
Okay, props to this Hanzo, because he heard you pop ulti, right? He can also even potentially hear the direction and probably guesses that you're in window. So he goes out here, he totally jiggle peeks it. This is 100% intentional. This is not reactive. That was his plan the whole time, is that he was gonna do this. And now he's gonna peek you and he's gonna shoot. Yep. This is skill. I recognize the skill there from that Hanzo. That was a good play. Props to that Hanzo. So you have 20 ammo right here. You see the Kiriko's low, right? Why are you not peeking to finish the Kiriko? Like, what could possibly be more important than killing the low health Kiriko right now? I went the wrong way. Like, why don't you just... She swift steps, but did you know she swift stepped? I don't think so. Right? You hide, and then she swift steps. So you should have held this to get the kill on the Kiriko. That's very confusing to me why you didn't go for that. Also, if you're going to go to window, just reload right now. Right? By the time you get here, like, the reload will basically be done. Alright, kill the Kiriko. Reload. I would throw mine on the point. It doesn't hurt right now. It does 100 damage. You see the Ashe. You need a kill for the right spot. So I don't think this window is a great place to fight. I think that this one gives you much better options, and then switching over here is very, very strong. And at which point, even if you take pressure, you can just crouch and move to the back, and you're safe. I think playing window is not good except as a surprise peek, not a sustained position to shoot from. Alright, so you play soldier, but yeah, there's nothing you do here. It's too late for that. Alright, defense. Unfortunate, that was close. Good, right? That was a good grapple peek. Again, killing the Widow alone does nothing. Can you get one more? So you should be dead here. So once again, first of all, I don't know why you're inching forward here. You know what I mean? Like, why not just play back here? Why would you want to play closer to the corner? Right? For a variety of reasons. As mentioned before, it's actually bad for hit scan to get closer to the corner, A. But B is you get closer to the enemy and potentially can get grabbed by the Junker Queen or whatever it is. right? You also have perfectly good cover over here. Or you can go high ground. You have so many options. I don't know why you walk closer. But second, remember what I said about wide peeking? So, because you're this far away from the corner, the Ashe has a chance to get one more bullet on you. See? You see that shot that she just missed? You should be dead. Okay? If you instead had only gone this far, she would have only gotten one shot on you, and you could guarantee that you would not die. Well, it's tricky because the Ashe is pretty quick if she hits semi-auto right away. But in general, that's the concept. You should recognize that the Widow has spawned by now, and you should be looking for her. The Widow just fired from the right. You just don't register this. Body shot her. Great. Take it. I would say, in general, regular, like, hit scan game logic applies, which is don't peek from the same corner if you can help it. People tend to fixate on the last spot they saw you. I think this is a good spot right here at stairs. Good, right? She doesn't see you initially. Yeah, you're playing much better defense than you were on offense, which I think offense was a mess. Oh, that's a good shot. But as a reminder, all the kills you get here only buy you about 10 seconds. Because of the fact that they have close spawn. Save on Tracer. That's close. So, recognizing that the Tracer was here, I would have put the mine down sooner. On top of where you were. But it's fine to get away. She whiffs a lot here. She should have done a lot of damage. Right, she misses about 2/3 of that. This is so awkward to watch. Alright, fine. I mean, there's nothing for me really comedy. Like, you're in a 1-on-1 against the Tracer. Like, it's not the worst thing that you could be doing right now. Both of you are fully occupied. You end up winning it, so we'll take it. Rough to miss that shot. This is where your reliance on flicking is really killing you. Because if you're a good tracker, this right here is an easy kill. Right? You're tracking correctly, but your urge to flick causes you to over-aim this. You see? Like, you're tracking the head well, and then you kind of lose it, and then you're like, oh, let me just snap and take the shot. Like, the impatience kicks in. Like, flicking is for sure like an impressive skill. Like, I also can flick as well, but tracking is super important. And I think if you played tracking heroes, like, for example, Zarya, Symmetra, etc., like, you would get good at it. Mercy decides to run in here and do something. Oh wait, how do you die here? Oh, pulse. Okay, so this is actually an interesting pulse. So she rewinds, and I'd be like, okay, wait, where was she 3 seconds ago? But it's tough because you just got here. So I think the second, this would be really hard. I don't know that I would be able to pull this off, but ideally, you shoot. First of all, I don't think I would chase them like that. But second, assuming I was in this situation, immediately grapple up. And that would have saved you. You had enough time, right? You almost walked away in time. Grapple would have for sure saved you. You get revived. You decide to cross this gap without even looking to your left, which is very brave considering the fact that they've run Widow like this whole game. Right? I know the Tracer was the original Widow, but the other PS1 Widow as well. That was good tracking. Managed to kill her before she gets the Mega. They're running Widow again. I don't know how people play Widow, honestly. It's like so boring to watch. It's like very high stress for like often very little value. And you're out of the fight for so long that often like your whole team can like, the fight can be over before you do anything about that. So this is an interesting situation. Like, who wins this? Okay, she sees you, right? You're just kind of holding it. I think she's actually an advantage if she Yeah, so she stops right here. So what she really should have done is she should have gone, pre-aimed above, and then crouched and then fired. And that would have given her advantage. Just straight like ADing like out like that is silly. Alright, so they're gonna cap first. Alright, so you did a good job there standing still. I approve of that. There's not much else you could have done in that situation. I think it's probably worth grapple to grapple up to the window, because I think that cuts more time out versus having half a grapple more distance after this. I would definitely grapple like ASAP. Right? Yeah, it's auto tracking, I guess, got the close one, because it looked like green bar. So you've lost 2. Nothing you can really do here. Yeah, just wait. Peek, try to get kill. Whoa, that's really good. So you don't see the left because you're tunnel vision and you're standing still, which you should never do in this game ever for any reason. And so it's easy kill by the Widow. Damage orbs chucked at you. You change angles. I mean, this is okay. It's a very passive angle, but it's safe at least for now until your tank gets up there. Tracer's popping off. Tracer should have been playing Tracer earlier. So, again, for an unknown corner, if you think they're if they're like holding this angle, by the way, they might actually know that you're in there because they can see the damage orb still bouncing around. Because if nobody had been here, the damage orb would have disappeared already. Remember, quick jiggle peek first to bait that shot is a very important technique to think of because you should be dead right there. Now just ego challenge, like, there's no reason to believe that you're going to win this. Don't take 50-50 fights. How about this? That's one of the best advice I can give you as Widow. Find ways to get advantages against the opposing Widow, okay? Because if you're simply being like, I'm going to win because I'm going to out-aim them, if you don't out-aim them, then you lose, right? Or it's like a toss-up. And toss-ups are not a good way to climb. You need to find ways to consistently win these fights against people who just hard... Like, this Widow is clearly like, I'm just going to hold my crosshair here. How can you play around that? Right? It could mean, for example, dropping down here and then grappling up over here and then taking a shot from there, for example. Okay? So there's a lot of options that you have available that are not just like, okay, I have the opportunity to take a fight, I'm going to take a fight. Now you've got Genji. I'm curious if you're actually any good at Genji. I would say it is unlikely based on what I read from your post, but we'll see. You use dash right away, which I think is a questionable plan. I also don't feel like Genji is particularly good here. Like, what are you even deflecting? Like, how do you farm? Alright. So far, I do not think Genji is your hero. Okay, so you've got Sojourn.
Just what I was looking for.
Farming this. You should have honestly eaten that blade. So I think you should have held this railgun for just a better opportunity, because it's just hard. Like, the Tracer also could have blinked at any moment in time. She pops Nano. Priority should just be to stay alive. This is the worst possible thing that you could have done. Oh man, it's so lucky that she just had that happen. So once she popped Nano, right, your goal should be, how can I get as evasive as possible? Which is not, how do I slide backwards and pin myself against the wall in the corner? You know, it would have been even better to slide forward and go over the top of her head, or to try to get, I don't know actually if you can get enough distance to get here, even with super jump. If you don't know how to do super jump for Sojourn, you should look it up. But if you could get up here, this also would have been great. Like, you have a lot of options that are not slide to the corner. Granted, like, it would have exposed you to the rest of the team, but I don't even know that you were thinking about that. So you waste quite a few shots here just shooting the cart. So you're at 15 shots right now, and you whiff them all. Like, if you're going to be playing this close, you might as well just play Reaper or something. or Symmetra or Torb or anybody that's going to give you value. That's not this. This is not good. And see, this is where, like, Sojourn's a tracking hero. It's a projectile tracking hero with that, which is even harder. And I don't think you know how to aim with this. Like, it doesn't look like you know how to trace people and predict with Sojourn's gun. Like, it literally looks like you're like using this for like the 3rd time in your life. Also, the Widow is here, constantly shooting at you, and then you straighten out for some reason. Like, watch this from the Widow perspective. So she can go for you in a second, right? And then you straighten out, right? Just keep AD spamming. That's your best option at surviving there. Not like, hey, let me just keep walking in one direction and hope she doesn't hit me. So you lose an opportunity right here to start spamming and building charge, right? Then right here to spam and build charge. Right? Why are you not building railgun charge? You do not look like somebody who plays Sojourn. For the record, Torbjorn, super strong in this situation, right? Especially since they're running like a Moira and a Tracer. Like, putting a turret over here and a Zarya, literally nobody can kill this turret. Like, if you put the turret right here, this turret will survive the entire game, and they never move this card. So, just a thought. If you're thinking about like, oh, what can I swap to? Yeah, swap to something that will not miss the enemy, because you do a lot of missing in these sets. Alright, kill, finally. The Tracer honestly shouldn't have been doing that at all. You pop overclock, and then you whiff. And then they win, right? Yeah, they win. Okay, what to say here? I think we covered a lot of Widow mechanics, right? I think that just understanding general hit scan, FPS, like corner peeking, jiggle peeking, like distance from the corner, etc. stuff is very, very important to understand this Widow, right? Like the experience that you get from playing like Counter-Strike or Valorant and tactical shooters, not Call of Duty, which like basically doesn't have that at all. I mean, technically it still does, like from a physics perspective, but it's like run and gun leads itself to a different type of gameplay. It de-emphasizes it. Those are things that you need to get better at, right? There's a lot of ego challenges here that you shouldn't do. You should find opportunities to, when you fight another Widow, how can I get an advantage before this fight even starts? Not like, oh, she shot at me and missed, I shot at her and missed, let's just keep doing this until one of us dies. Like, I know that temptation is there, like the ego is there, but it's not a productive play to do, especially if you're not actually that good at aiming, which your aim is just not good enough to consistently do that, as we can tell from the game. Again, moving up more quickly, like your game sense there was on attack in particular was really bad. You just like had no idea like where people were going to be, and you popped ultimates that were consistently bad to just tell you what anyone else in the game would have just naturally known from playing Overwatch, and I think that was really frustrating to see. There's times where you play selfishly. I don't think I would even highlight this as an overall point though, but you're like clearly not thinking of your team very much, which again, you're playing Widow, so that happens. Like you were pocketed by your Mercy for basically the whole game, and you did not get enough value out of it. That's like a really important thing to highlight, is your Mercy is like hard pocketing you for so much of this game, and you did not do nearly enough to justify 40% of your team for it to matter. I think your team actually did an admirable job holding as well as they did, with you going long stretches without doing anything. On offense in particular, and in the second half on defense, you really weren't doing very much. Once they went Tracer, like you just weren't hitting shots, you just weren't in particularly good positions, you're clearly very frazzled, and then all of the picks you picked after that were all throws, effectively. None of those heroes looked like you knew what to do with those heroes. Again, if you were looking for a pick where you're like, $100 for me to win this game, just go Torbjorn and put a turret right here, and that would have bought you enough time to end this in this fight, right? Here or right side, right? Either one would have been fine. I think left side's stronger because there's no box, but yeah. That is something to think about. Yeah, I think a turret like right here. That way you can't shoot it from this angle would have been perfect. Okay. Hopefully that is at least a little bit helpful to you.